Welcome back to the Next Human Lab podcast. I'm Simon. There's a moment that almost every relationship goes through. It's after something feels off, maybe a conversation that didn't land, or a reaction that created distance. Luna's here with me. Why do you think these moments feel so difficult for people to handle?
I think it's because there's uncertainty. People feel the distance, but they're not sure how to close it. Sometimes they're afraid bringing it up might make things worse, so they leave it, and that space just stays there.
Exactly. That's what we're exploring today. Disconnection isn't the end of a relationship, but what happens after disconnection determines whether it grows or slowly fades. And that process is called repair. If you look at everything we've explored so far, we've talked about how relationships form, how they grow, how they struggle. But today, we're looking at what happens when things don't go well. Because no matter how aware you are, there will be moments of misunderstanding and tension.
So the goal is not to avoid those moments, but to know how to handle them.
Exactly. Strong relationships aren't defined by the absence of conflict. They're defined by the ability to repair. Let's start with something honest. Disconnection will happen even in the healthiest relationships.
Because people are different?
Yes. Different emotions, different timing, different ways of expressing things. So moments of misalignment are natural. Disconnection is inevitable. Staying disconnected is not. Let's go deeper. After disconnection, people usually fall into one of two patterns. They either avoid it or handle it poorly.
Avoiding it feels easier in the moment.
Exactly. They think it's okay, it will pass, but the issue remains unresolved. Over time, those small unresolved moments build into distance. Imagine this. A conversation gets tense. Someone feels hurt. But instead of addressing it, they move on. They talk normally again and continue the relationship. But internally, something is different. They're slightly more careful, slightly less open, and that's how disconnection grows. Here's where repair often goes wrong. People try to resolve the issue by proving their point.
Trying to explain why they were right.
Exactly. But repair is not about winning the argument. It's about restoring the connection. And those are two very different goals. Let's talk about something common: apologies. Saying sorry is often seen as repair, but most of the time it's incomplete.
Because it doesn't address what actually happened?
Exactly. Real repair includes understanding the impact, acknowledging the experience, showing awareness, and making a different choice moving forward. That's what rebuilds trust. And if you're listening to this and thinking about a moment in your life where something was left unresolved, you're not alone. Most people were never taught how to repair relationships. If this conversation is helping you see something more clearly, take a moment to like the video. It helps these ideas reach people who might still be carrying unresolved distance. And to everyone who's been supporting this channel quietly, consistently, thank you. You're part of making these conversations meaningful. Here's something deeper. Repair requires emotional responsibility. Not blame, not guilt, but responsibility.
Meaning, owning your part?
Exactly. Even if it's not everything, even if the situation is shared, being able to say, I see how my response affected this, that changes everything. There's also something important happening internally. Repair is not just about the other person. It's about how you handle discomfort. Repairing requires you to revisit the moment, face what happened, and stay present in the discomfort. And that's not easy, but it's necessary. Let's talk about practical exercises. First, ask yourself, is there something I've left unspoken that still feels unfinished? Second, instead of saying, I was right, try, I've been thinking about what happened, and I want to understand your side better. Third, don't rush the conversation. Stay present and listen fully. That's what rebuilds trust. So today, disconnection is not the problem. Avoiding repair is. Here's something to reflect on. When something breaks in a relationship, do I move away or move toward it? In the next episode, we're going to explore something that determines long-term connection consistency. Why stable relationships feel different, and why that difference matters.
I think what stayed with me is realizing that repair is what keeps relationships alive.
Yeah, and when you learn how to repair, you don't just maintain relationships, you deepen them. We'll see you in the next episode.